Hello everybody and welcome to the SHNEWS, your weekly shoe news roundup. Got some interesting stories to go through today, including a story I really should have covered about this time last week. It's this crazy story around the fake Travis 1 high mocha market. Also going to talk about the return to Resell, how some of Nike's latest releases have been going for some big money in the aftermarket. We've also got our first look at the Jordan 5 A Ma Maniere that's coming out later on this year, as well as another look at the Awake New Yorks. But let's kick things off by recapping this week's biggest sneaker releases. And I think, at least for you guys over there in the USA, most people were preoccupied with the Union 1 Jordan release. The hype has been building for this release for ages now. We also saw there was a early release that went down with subsequent cancelled orders. All of this build up was for absolutely nothing because they ended up just running a raffle anyway, which a lot of people were suspecting was just a cover to essentially backdoor most of the pairs anyway. And so what was supposed to be a pretty exciting online release ended up just being a pretty average raffle. I'm also hearing that these are going to be receiving a Sneakers app release, which was in question up until recent times. Now, the release dates that they've opted for on the Nike Sneakers app is an interesting one because it coincides with another big sneaker drop for this month that we're going to talk about a little bit further down the line, the SB4s. Resale prices are still pretty crazy, around £800 I'm seeing. Still no word on when they're going to be wheeling out here in the UK more specifically. I'm thinking they'll probably just drop them on that same date, right around March 18th. Also this week, Nike just went ahead and re-released the original Tom Sachs GPS, the general purpose shoe, which came and went pretty quickly. It certainly seems like people are still quite happy to mess with Tom Sachs and this brand. I think by the time the Mars Yard 3.0s come out and people see the hype and the potential resale value about them, all sins will be forgiven. The other big releases that went down this week were the Joe Freshgoods 992s. We also had a pop-up here in London in the East End, right around Liverpool Street, Old Truman Brewery, for Slawn's Air Max 90s. You can see this pretty cool promotional bit of content here. These were available via the pop-up and they're going to be releasing, I think, in a couple of days' time on the Nike Sneakers app. And then the other big release was the Flu Game 12s, which I slept on. It's not a big deal because, as you guys know, I actually still have my 2016 pair, which is pretty much still DS. I don't even think I've rocked these yet. So I need to basically take these off the shelf and put them on feet before they end up falling apart on me. But yeah, these sold out, which was not that surprising, to be fair. Saw some rumors that there were very low numbers on these. Something like 45,000 pairs is the rumor that I'm seeing, which is definitely going to underserve demand. And it has resulted in these reselling for a little bit in the aftermarket, maybe like £100 or so over. And that's going to lead us into today's big leading news story, which is the return of the resell. Now, resell is a contentious issue. There are some people out there that completely hate the resale market because it's anathema to sneaker culture, which is all about buying sneakers to wear sneakers, to collect sneakers because you like the sneakers, whereas resale pretty much predates on the people that love that particular aspect of sneaker culture and has them overpaying for sneakers that they wouldn't necessarily have to do otherwise. But on the flip side, resale culture and that hype culture is what builds a lot of the excitement in modern day culture. So whatever your own particular individual position is on the resale market, just park it to one side as we analyze what's going on in the market currently. Now, February was a massive month for sneakers, as we know. We had the Black Toes, we had the Breads, we had the Galaxy Foamposites, we had the Kobe's, Black Metallic Reimagines, and all of these sneakers, with the exception of the Black Toes, have gone on to perform somewhat decently in the resale market, with pretty much all of those pairs commanding an above average premium price, and demand seems to be pretty high. If you look at StockX, some of the last sales are really high and a lot of units are being moved around. And this is, of course, great news for Nike. You might be thinking this is bad news for Nike because they could be capitalizing on a larger demand for their products. They could be selling more units. They could be adding to their revenue. But you've got to remember that when the resale market is healthy for Nike, Nike as a brand is healthy as well. Think about the peak of Nike shares a few years ago in 2020, 2021. They were at their most valuable when their products were reselling for the most in the resale market. And so what Nike are doing is they are bringing out the types of products that they know sneakerheads really want. They're producing them in limited quantities to knowingly underserve the demand, which in kind is driving up these resale prices. Now, the prices aren't like crazy. It's not like 2020 or 2021 where prices were just completely out of hand for normal GR sneakers. And I think this is going to be a theme for how Nike chooses to approach the drops moving forward this year. I don't think most of the hyped up releases that we're excited about are going to be easy to get. I think they're going to make things hard. I also think they're going to be doing a lot in terms of these pop-ups and activations, getting the extra leverage of the social media marketing that goes alongside with that type of stuff to essentially revamp their brand image and desirability. Right, this next story is kind of crazy, but it's sort of not really when you think about it. It's to do with the Travis Scott Jordan 1 High mochas and the fake scam that has been playing out for years now that has had a knock-on effect to the resale value of the Travises as they sit here in 2025. So apparently what has been going on over the years is people have been buying up fake pairs of Travis Scotts and they've been combining them with legitimate pairs of Travis Scotts. You've got one fake shoe and then you've got one legit shoe, and people have been sending this mixture of fake and non-fake off to authentication where they will or will not pass authentication depending on which shoe I guess the authenticator inspects. This has pretty much been an open secret in among sneaker resale networks as well as authentication networks, to the point where the resale prices on Travis Scott 1 mochas in general have completely tumbled down because the market confidence in that pair is just so low right now. So unless you have it on pretty good authority that you have an original retail pair, man, you got to go checking your Travis Scotts at the minute, and not just checking them against legit pairs or inauthentic pairs online, but checking them off against each other to make sure they're consistent. All right, let's talk about some official images, some new looks, some new sneakers, all that type of good stuff. We've had some official images of the Air Jordan 9 Cool Gray. These are set to drop on the 15th of this month. $215 is the retail price point. And this is one of those sneakers that Mike never wore when he was a Bull, but he did wear when he was a Wizard. So for that reason, a lot of people out there are going to be excited about these. Obviously, the Cool Gray is a pretty iconic color scheme for an Air Jordan, and these look nice. The quality looks really good. The shape looks nice. It's not a must cop for me personally because I'm not really into nines like that, but if Nike continue on with their current trend of underserving the demand for these types of retros, these could well sell out. You know you're coming around to the change in season when you start to see slides proposed for the summer season ahead, and that's what we have to look forward to with these. The Kobe slides set for a summer release, $40. We've got a hyper royal and white colorway to look at here, complete with the Kobe logo on the strap, complete with the Mamba print or the snake scale prints over the upper. So a sneaker that has been flying under the radar a little bit are these. These are the Air Force One Low linens, but they're coming out in a canvas material, and these are also set to drop this month as well. I think these have been flying low under the radar because people haven't, I guess, taken to the retro of last year's linens as much as Nike might have hoped given its status as a cult classic sneaker. And so this linen variation is looking a little bit more like a cash grab from Nike, capitalizing on the initial popularity of this shoe way back in the day. We've got another Air Max 180 colorway, part of the collaboration with APRON Records. We've got a nice combination of materials as well with the leather overlays and then this furry material and furry laces. They've also got the Dubray and then a bit of accenting on the back, including some co-branding and what looks to be a sort of snakeskin type overlay. Cool looking sneaker, cool looking packaging. We've got some more ASAP Rocky Puma Mostro 3D printed joints to look forward to this year. You guys remember last year we had that Vault Green as well as that red colorway, which were pretty popular, to be fair. I think this is very much one of those fashion MF type shoes or one of those sneakers that sort of borderlines on meme footwear, but is still nonetheless pretty cool if you're into that type of look. $250 is the retail, which is kind of a crazy price point for these, but we have two more colorways to look forward to anyway, or maybe look past rather than look forward to. There's a silver colorway and then there's a black colorway, so definitely more wearable in terms of the colorways themselves, and these are supposed to be dropping sometime in the summer. Not really my thing personally, at least according to these on-foot shots. Yeah, I don't know how I could wear these and expect anyone to take me seriously. Got some more Nike Air Zoom Spiridon Spiridon undefeateds set to come out in the spring. And these come off the back of the pair that dropped last week in the navy colorway, which was very limited, something like 1,000 pairs, which obviously come off the back of the fragment Zoom Spiridons that we saw last year that kind of underperformed, I want to say, in the markets. These are two really nice looking colorways though. You've got a phantom pair and then a cargo khaki pair. Not much in the way of product images, but you can get a sense of what's going on here. I do like the lighter colorway personally. The darker pair is also pretty clean as well. But our first look at the Nike SB Dunk Low Pro B Cinnamon, which is a good looking sneaker, nice looking quality materials. I think these will be pretty easy to cop. Louisiana's sneaker politics wants you to stop buying sneakers. This is some reverse psychology. To be honest, I don't think that many people would be upset at not buying these particular ASICs, given that the Gel Kayano 14 has definitely been really popular. It's almost on that fizzle out, having been played out phase right now. And the message, to be fair to them, seems to be rooted in the benevolence for the welfare of the general public. This is reminiscent of Patagonia's famous "Don't Buy This Jacket" ad from 2011. The campaign promotes the notion of it being important to say no to buying certain sneakers in order to reflect on oneself and not fall victim to empty trends. And I know what you're thinking, how ironic to be using a sneaker that is very much the epitome of what's trending right now to say no to buying stuff that is trending right now. Right, so we've had a sneaky look at the P-Rod 1, which doesn't yet have a release date, does have a price point that we can go off here, which is $110. These are going to be an iconic pair for a lot of people out there that are SB aficionados or just P-Rod fans, but I wonder, does this not set a sneaky precedent that could very much be unearthed by Nike in that they're going to start retroing SBs? Now, we have seen them retro SBs. Like as of last year, they brought back the JPack or some colorways, but there's a general feeling in amongst SB collectors that to start retroing SB collabs could be a slippery slope. Interesting little sub debates there. If anyone wants to get into it, feel free to do so because that will help with engagement. I've had some official images of some really exciting upcoming retros that just continue to absolutely stoke the fires of what is a raging inferno of Nike releases this year. First and foremost, the Grape 5s are returning in June. We have a date, 21st, and if you know about the sneaker, you know what's going on. This is the first time the sneaker will have been retroed in OG form with the most important feature of all, the Nike Air on the heel. I know some of you guys might want to point to the Fresh Princes, but remember they didn't come with the lace holes, so weren't a true to the OG original sneaker. I'm liking the look of these. This is a huge year for Air Jordan 5s, and we have a couple of Air Jordan 5 collabs that we're going to be talking about in a minute. But yeah, this is a huge sneaker, probably on most people's cop list for sure. So earlier in the week, I was talking to you guys about Depeche Mode or Depeche Mode, who is one of these sneaker resellers that specializes in the hyper rare. He takes these types of crazy sneakers on consignment. And last week he was unboxing a whole bunch of shoes that a lot of people are suspecting are coming from Fat Joe's closets. And he's been posting up some prices for these pairs on his Instagram, which have gotten a few people's eyeballs widened. Damn, the Off-White breads, man, $60,000 is what he is after for these. And I'm not even sure what size they are. The Cause 4s in the olive green colorway, $75,000. I know a lot of you guys out there are going to be thinking, bro, who the hell is paying that type of money for these sneakers, especially when you could just buy the reps? But these particular items are not for normal people. These are for the people that literally have money they can afford to set fire to. Right, we've had our first look at the Air Jordan 5 A Ma collab in the brown colorway, and yeah, these images are slightly better than XC Sneaker. We have them from XC Made, which is basically the same guy, I'm gonna guess, but with a phone contract upgrade of late. These are very, very plain. I wanna say they're clean, don't get me wrong, but yeah, a little bit underwhelming, at least according to these images. There looks to be a flat, shiny leather on the upper, embroidered Nike Air on the back. You've got a couple of different hues on the midsole, a brown, and then almost like a violet brown or a deeper muddy clay brown, and then the oxidized outsole, yellow netting, contrast black laces. They're nice. They're okay. They're not spectacular. I would even argue that Awake New York's Air Jordan 5, which we'll go back over in a second, is a little bit more imaginative and maybe even a little bit more exciting than these. Some people out there have been saying maybe it's time we get some new collaborators on board because this stuff is starting to feel a little bit tired. What do you guys think of that? Chris Gibbs, the owner of Union LA, sat down with Sneaker News editor-in-chief this week to discuss some of the interesting things going on with the brand at the moment. But one of the interesting things that I wanted to talk about was what he said with regard to the UNC Royals sample that we saw a few weeks ago. There was a bit of speculation that maybe the sneaker would eventually come out further down the line, but what's ended up coming to light is that this sneaker was supposed to be part of a pack featuring the Chicago Shadows that we're going to be getting imminently. If you guys remember back to the last release where you had the Black Toes and then you had the Storm Blues, the Storm Blue was the US only exclusive type release, whereas the Black Toes ended up going internationally. This UNC pair was supposed to come out alongside the Shadows, but due to factory limitations, it just didn't end up happening. So maybe if they can sort those limitations out, these might come out a little bit further down the line. Awake New York have debuted some of their upcoming collection as part of their Summer 2025 lookbook, which has enabled us to get a good, sneaky, partial look at the upcoming Air Max 95 Neon, which is supposed to be coming out at the very end of this month. Features the big bubble. Is going to be an absolute must cop for Air Max 95 collectors, even though they've retroed a gazillion times. We've got a couple of collaborations set to come out very soon with New Balance on the 1000. We have Concepts and This Never That. Let's talk about This Never That first. So this particular collaboration actually released earlier on this week in limited fashion via their own channels, I think, and is set to come out more broadly on the 7th of March. And then the other collab is with Concepts, which features a slightly more green toned up palette, and there are two different colorways set to go down. Just have these images to go off at the moment and no specific release date info. Now, I feel like at the moment the New Balance 1000 is in a bit of an over rinse cycle. When they broke onto the scene last year, they were new, they were novel, people were getting excited about them. I do rate the shoe, I do think it is a nice shoe, but it's starting to feel a little bit like they are overplaying their hand with it, to the point where these types of collabs aren't going to land as successfully as they would have hoped. Right, so we've spoken about both of these shoes, but this is what I'm seeing at the moment. A confirmation around both the Navy SB4 and the Chicago Union dropping on the same day, on March the 18th. So let's just chat about this for a second. Now, the Union release, as we know, has already been raffled off via Union. Whatever pairs are remaining are going to be going up via the Nike Sneakers app and maybe the normal retailers. Here in the UK, I think it's exactly the same type of situation. With the SB4s, I feel like what will probably happen with these is that they will sell via skate shops the normal way, primarily through raffles in the build-up to March 18th, and then whatever stock is left will be going up on the Nike Sneakers app on the 18th. So I would expect, despite this date saying that they're both going to be dropping on the same day, I would expect a limited drop on the Union Chicago's, primarily on the Nike Sneakers app in the US, here in the UK, normal retailers, and on the Nike Sneakers app, and then for the SBs to be going up for raffle via skate shops and the normal retailers in the week leading up to March 18th, something like that. You guys might have seen this story doing the rounds earlier on in the week. Kai Cenat, who is a signature Nike signed creator, bought Duke Dennis $80,000 worth of Freddy Kruegers, and it's suspected that he got these off of Randy Johnson, I think, the former Hall of Fame baseball pitcher, and I can't help but feel like Kai Cenat got finessed, man. 80K, I mean, don't get me wrong, like Freddy's, I understand how rare they are. I know they go for around 20K, 30K, but 80K? I think bro got absolutely finessed. We've also got the Awake New York collaboration on the Air Jordan 5s to have another little chat about. I actually think now that I really like these. I know they're bright pink and that's not necessarily going to be to everybody's taste. Some people have been trashing these because of the A logo in the netting, but I actually like that feature. I think that's something that brands need to do more of, is take a key feature of the shoe and then just mess with it just to make it their own. Just so that they don't kind of go down the A Ma maniere route of just making it very safe and very secure and just messing with the materials a little bit here. I feel like brands should be taking these types of bold moves more often. I'm liking them. I'm coming around to them. I think I'll definitely be trying to get my hands on these, especially for summertime, man. It's a dope shoe. And there we go. That is today's SHNEWS. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch the video. Do me a favor and jump over to IG and drop me a follow over there, because I'm fast approaching 100K followers over there. And like the video before you bounce. I really would appreciate it. And I will see you on the next video. Take care for now, and peace.